Hi everyone, this is just another assignment briefing video, this time about assessment 3, blog learning reflections. As always, the first point of call should be the unit profile because that contains all the details and it's the contract between us. So the unit profile specifies that the final assessment with 40% of this unit is actually consisting of 3 components. We have a multimedia blog that you should be building throughout the term. We have a written reflective report that you are writing towards the end of term. And we have a self and peer assessment questionnaire that you will fill in at the very end of the term. And that is relevant for your group work. So let's talk about them one by one. Let's talk about the weekly blog. Now, the Moodle blogging tool is available for you, and if you want to pass the unit, you have to use the blogging tool. That means ideally you'll be writing at least 1 blog entry per week. The blog entry needs to be time-stamped, so I know when you've actually entered this blog entry, and it needs to be reflective and demonstrate that you're participating at the activities. So what does this mean? This means if you're an on-campus student, you will go to the class, you'll participate at the various design thinking activities, and then you will reflect on how that went. If you're unsure about reflecting, then you need to go to the Moodle additional assessment resources section, and also attend the classes. We teach you what reflecting means. So basically, ideally, as I said, you would have 1 entry per week. Trust me, everyone, this will help you actually write your final report as well. This is not there to annoy you, it's there to be part of your actual personal development. So you're continuously thinking about what you're doing well and what you could be improving. So what we want is for the blog entries to be reflective. That means I want more than just a description of what happened. There is a template available in Moodle in the additional assessment resources. I am more than happy for you to use that. And if you do, then you will know that this is more than just a description. Now, during the classes for on-campus students, we will have some time for you to reflect. So I would suggest you use that time to actually really get something on paper. You will need the material you put in the blog for 2 other reasons. You'll need them for assessment 3, reflective report, and you will need them for assessment 2, evidence of your group work. And that is why the blog is incredibly powerful. Every time you are putting a blog entry, you can attach photographs, images, videos, scanned documents, you can attach hyperlinks, whatever you find useful. So when it comes to you preparing your presentation for assessment 2, you have all the material there for you already. Now, I'm not going to tell you how much you have to write, but when we're marking the blog, we will be checking whether there are enough entries. And so as a minimum, in order to pass this criterion, I want 8 time-stamped entries across the term. That means if someone is writing 8 entries the day before the deadline, you will not pass this criterion. If you write 7 throughout the term, you will not pass. Okay? So I need 8 spread across the term. It is really, really best to write 1 entry per week and to not write less than 150 words per entry. This is actually not a lot. And I can tell you from past experience with this unit and others, the students who got the distinctions and the high distinctions used the blog regularly. The students who failed a unit ignored the blog. Okay, as for marking, we will not give you detailed written feedback on the blog. in the final assessment. We'll look at it, we'll check it, but we will not give you detailed written feedback. What we will do is give you feedback on your reflective report. So the blog, you're building that throughout the term. The report is a Word document that you will be writing towards the end of the term. It is a critical self-analysis and reflection of your learning as a result of experienced design thinking within this unit. So that means you are telling me about your personal development. For example, what kind of skills you've learned, what skills you're still missing, whether there was anything that helped you develop yourself. You will also tell me about the development of your knowledge. So for instance, a lot of you might not have come across design thinking before. At the end of this term, you will know a lot about it. So that's knowledge you have gained. As a conclusion in this report, you will include an action plan of actual activities and events that you can do in the next 6 months to acquire anything that you are not sure about yet. This might be, for example, a training session somewhere that teaches you more about creativity. Or maybe as part of your report, you have identified that you are still not good at presenting. Then you could say, in the next 6 months, I am going to push myself out of the comfort zone and put my hand up for every presentation that comes my way. So whatever it is, just give me some actual specific events and activities you can do to become better. The reflective report will be about 2,500 words. It will be a report, so professionally formatted with table of contents, executive summary, and so on. You must include literature. And I'm saying at least 10 APA style high quality references. And very, very important, you must cross-reference your blog. In the class, we talk about some ways in which you can do this. The easiest way is to simply identify a cross-referencing system. So for instance, maybe in week 3, we've done brainstorming. In your report, you then say, I am still not very good at brainstorming, which I have already identified in week 3. And then in brackets, see blog post from date X. That is a cross-referencing system. So whenever you're reflecting on something specific, you can reference the blog. It's important. You're submitting this report at the very end of week 12. And then finally, as part of this assessment, you will all be completing an SPA questionnaire. That will have a few questions about the team members that you have worked with for assessment 2. If you have team members that are just not doing the work, then this is where you can put that information, and the relevant grade from the other team members will then be placed onto your assignment mark for assessment 3. I will email the SPA to you around about week 10, so check your emails. I will remind you of the SPA a few times, but please remember one thing: there is no extension for this. If you ignore the SPA, then you will get a mark of 0 for this component. Please don't ignore it. If you see an email from me as the coordinator, you need to action. And in this case, there are no extensions for the SPA. For the reflective report, if you have evidence and you need to apply for an extension, then you can do so like any other assignment. Otherwise, we will be applying late submission penalties. So quickly, the difference between the blog and the report. Now, the blog is something that the tutors may give you some feedback on as the term progresses. For the reflective report, we have very little time, or actually it's just not appropriate to give you a lot of feedback during the term because you write it at the end. The blog is more of a pass-fail activity. So we will check it, we will see if it's complete and appropriate, but will not give you detailed feedback. The report, on the other hand, you'll get feedback. The blog entries will be fairly short. There'll be 150 words or so each, and you can structure them according to the template in the assessment resources section. The report will be an actual report, must be more than a template because it needs to be 2,500 words. It's written at the end of term, whereas the blog must be developed throughout the term. And the blogs, each entry will be talking about a specific activity. The report will reflect on the overall experience. So yes, this might make reference to specific activities, but the basic structure I would recommend is to talk about personal development, skills, attitudes, abilities, and knowledge development, which is knowledge relating to design thinking. Now, I don't want you to then repeat everything you've exactly said in your blogs. It's more about talking about the overall experience of design thinking. And as I've said before, from past experience, the students with the good grades are using their blog for this. They are really relying on their blog on a very regular basis, and that's how you can get the distinctions and the high distinctions in this unit. As for the marking rubric, first and foremost, we want you to demonstrate that you're using the blog. To do this, we need to see at least the 8 meaningful blog entries spread across the term, and we need to see the cross-referencing. So please make sure that your report contains reference to the blog. In the report, we want to see honest and critical self-analysis in terms of knowledge development and personal development. This will make reference to the specific behaviors and activities from your blog and really talk about what you're good at and what you're not. So that's your strengths and weaknesses. Tell me in an actual action plan what kind of activities you can do in the next 6 months to improve areas of weakness or to further strengthen your areas of strength. I will then have a mark relating to the self and peer assessment. And then we have at least 10 quality references and correct use of APA style referencing. So the main point really is start blogging as early as you can. Use the blog as much as possible with pictures, with other evidence, with information about how you felt at the time. And that blog will really, really help you for your report. And also, if you use the blog, it's easy marks to get, but it's also easy marks to lose if you ignore it. I hope you have fun blogging, and I wish you all the best for this assessment.